Is the door to Iron Man totally closed? Because I don't believe it is.
Oh.
You guys can go through time now. You can go. You already opened up that door.
Well, let me ask you the question. If I pick the jersey back up and put it on, wouldn't you feel a little bit like, crap?
No.
Oh.
Here's what I think.
All right.
They go through a few semi-lackluster Avengers movies without you.
Nerdrotic.com.
In my last Disney Marvel video, I may have alluded to the fact that the subsidiary of Disney should be in panic mode because it's doomed. Well, things have gotten worse. Don't believe me? Let's just see what's happened in the last month.
Okay, yes! I wasn't super into superhero comics when I was a kid. I read a lot of like indie press stuff.
Nani?
Because most superhero comics, had the same kind of rhythm, you kind of get fatigued from like the drama of it all, the high stakes, and a lot of it are very tortured stories,
Are you for real?
Is Steve Rogers, in fact, still a virgin?
And I love
We wondered so much about it as writers that we put it in so many more episodes than we had to pull back from it, but...
Did you see that ass? Like, that ass did not deserve to die virgin. It's, like, so sad.
Like us, she was like, he's so hot, it would be such a waste if he left this earth having never enjoyed sex.
You flipped too hard, damn it!
There has been critique that, like, her body is not muscular. And to me, I kind of find that to be an interesting conversation to have.
No! God, please, no! No!
There's only one making a stallion.
This is a very special show. Please welcome the incredible cast of Echo. Alakwa Cox.
Who?
You first appeared in Hawkeye. Now you've just wrapped starring in your own show. How does it feel?
Oh my gosh. What a journey this has been. This is only my second role I've ever had, and now I've become a lead. It's just so crazy to me.
I can't hear you!
This is the big finale.
Let's talk about the young fans seeing you on that screen flying. Seeing a black woman flying.
A black chocolate woman with big, kinky, luscious hair.
Sexy chocolat. Sexy chocolat.
Here it is for young women, for women my age, older women. It is going to be especially encouraging and exciting to have that image, that visual on screen.
Did she surprise you with any of her knowledge? All the time, every day. Like, I ask her questions all the time because she understands it. It's deep. It's deep.
She literally turned to me in the middle of a scene one day. She's like, "Wait, am I an Avenger?" And I was like, Bree.
I'm also like a woman, so I have a menstruation, and that was also scary to me. I was like, what do I do?
Jesus Christ, what the What?
Originally, this video was planned to be a mid-season review of SheHulk. Let's check in on that.
This is expanding the definition of what a Marvel Studios production can be. And the last couple of episodes have been absolute bangers. We went looking at shoes, shopping for outfits that we never saw put on, and puked at a wedding. Certainly sounds like a show written by wine moms who don't know anything about the law or superheroes.
In the Marvel movies, we get to see a lot of high stakes events. The universe is going to end. Everyone in existence is going to go away. But what happens in between those events? What happens on a regular Tuesday when you just have to do laundry? That's really kind of the slice of life that this show kind of explores. Which we knew is what the MCU fans were screaming for.
Yeah.
Hell no.
But you know who we haven't heard from in quite a long time? My girl Brie Larson at D23. Let's see what she's got to say.
How long will you play Captain Marvel for?
I don't know. Does anyone want me to do it again?
Don't be so modest.
I don't know. I really don't know. I don't have the answer to that.
Aside from the fact that I have an answer for her, no, maybe she's upset about the fan response to Captain Marvel. Maybe she's upset about getting demoted in her own sequel, or maybe she's upset about the lack of a crowd that showed up to see her at D23, and this is 2 minutes before she showed up, or maybe she's upset about all of it. The previous Disney Marvel D+ series, Miss Marvel, debuted number 10 on the streaming list and then disappeared. She-Hulk wasn't even on it, and D23 pissed off the most shill of shills. The MCU Phase 4, which we will now call Stage 4, has not been doing very well, and everything we have witnessed has been diminishing returns. This is an intellectual property in entropy. Outside of Spider-Man No Way Home, absolutely nothing we have seen is indicative of a healthy franchise. By the way, has anybody brought up the giant celestial hand that's been sticking out of the ocean?
Nah, it'll be fine.
This isn't even indicative of a franchise that's in trouble. Ladies and gentlemen, Marvel is dying. But wait a minute, I was always told that the next Disney Marvel thing is the best Disney Marvel thing. Doctor Strange Mom failed to capture the momentum from Spider-Man No Way Home. Thor: Love and Thunder was a massive disappointment, and now your latest Disney Plus series is a complete disaster. Look at that Rotten Tomatoes score. Look at that IMDb score. Look at that Metacritic score. And we'll get back to those in just a moment. But not to worry, Disney Marvel. Your champion has arrived. Scotty Cuties Fan Mendelson.
So y'all need to hide your kids, hide your wife, and hide your husband.
Who admits that Disney Marvel has a problem. One similar to DC for some reason. And spoilers, it's your fault. Fan expectations. So Scotty's take here is those films were doing fine, and he went ahead and compared them to older films, but then excluded Captain Marvel and Black Panther.
I'm sorry, I think Captain Marvel's a fine movie. I think Black Panther's terrific, but the fact that those films vastly overperformed right before, at the end of Phase 3, I think it set unrealistic expectations for what a non-event Marvel movie is supposed to do.
I will absolutely agree that Captain Marvel overperformed based on being placed between two of the most anticipated sequels of all time, and Black Panther being a product of the single greatest marketing campaign of all time. Scotty works for Forbes, so I think he would know that profitability is what matters. It's not the box office total. So we'll just go to Thor. Thor Ragnarok was released in November of 2017. It cost $180 million to make, and it made $850 million plus worldwide. It has a domestic total, adjusted for inflation, of $322 million, compared to Thor Love and Thunder's $343 million domestic, with a $750 million plus global take. Here's the problem. It costs $250 million to make. Also, tickets are more expensive now than they were in 2017. You're charging fewer people more money to see your film with less profitability. Let's not forget those marketing costs that in this case can surpass doubling the budget of the film, and let's also not forget there's no Russia or China. Diminishing returns. And comparing Thor Ragnarok and Doctor Strange Mom with the Joker is just asinine. The same Joker that made over $1 billion worldwide without China and cost $56 million to make. Again, I will agree with you, Scotty. Black Panther and Captain Marvel overperformed, and that created expectations, and you have blamed it on the fans, but I will blame it on the investors and the people who work at Disney, because they're the ones who have the higher expectations, and they're the ones who are quietly very disappointed with the diminishing returns. Films can be hurt by the previous film in the franchise. For example, The Last Jedi directly affected Solo, hashtag Solo lost money, and a more recent example, Doctor Strange Mom directly affected Thor Love and Plunder. Why? Because both films were pieces of crap. Speaking of pieces of crap, I would just like to give Disney a little credit. I think you have cured sexism. The all-female writing staff for She-Hulk has proven that women can make shit too. We have achieved equality. I don't know, maybe you should have hired a couple of men, considering that the She-Hulk comic book was eventually successful based on the 95% male audience that read it. So let me get this straight. You decided to base a television show on a She-Hulk comic that was largely read by a male audience. You decided to hire all female writers who didn't read that comic book. On top of that, you decided to not base your TV show on the comic book, but base it on 2 legal shows, The Practice and Ally McBeal. Turns out that very same all-female writing staff that you hired didn't know jack about the law either. I can't imagine why this is failing. As I mentioned earlier, it didn't even appear in the Nielsen Top 10. That's something even Miss Marvel managed to do at number 10. That seems to fit right in with the D+ pattern, starting a show at varying degrees of mediocre to crap and ending like crap. Maybe it has something to do with how things are done over there at Disney Marvel, particularly with D+. I talked about this on Friday Night Tights 2 weeks ago, and the great Critical Drinker tweeted this out. Apologies, I'm going to have to read this sober, buddy. So apparently, She-Hulk was supposed to release before Miss Marvel, but the first cut was so monumentally shit that they had to swap them around to allow for emergency reshoots. Think about that. What we're seeing now is the improved version. I believe I can get you a quote. The show was in bad shape. Really bad. Aside from Disney Marvel being your basic bitch corporate woke disaster, they also just don't know how to make television. You think by accident they would get something right.
I do think the TV shows on Disney Plus are potentially watering down the specialness of the brand. But the good news is the amount of people watching the movies versus still a lot more than the people watching the shows.
I don't know if I agree that it could potentially dilute the MCU. I think it is, although it's just diluting sewage. Again, even the show's champions and the shills, sometimes one and the same, are turning on this, and the audience agrees. 5 out of 10 on IMDb for a Disney Marvel show, 3.2 on Metacritic for a Disney Marvel show, and 38% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. As per usual, we'll just start with the latest review from 2 hours ago. Glenn S. for 1.5 stars. This show is a stinker. People keep saying that it's supposed to be a comedy, but it's not Parks and Rec or Modern Family. Sure isn't. Not enough laughs. Actually, no laughs. Just a groan or two. I read the She-Hulk comic book back in the day, and it was more like Deadpool with lots of action and humor. I also watched 5 episodes so far, and I think I will just read the recaps for the rest of them and maybe the finale. So disappointed. From 2 hours ago, 5 stars. As a lifelong comic junkie and sitcom lover, this is fantastic. I love it. Linda C., lifelong comic junkie.
I don't believe you.
From 2 hours ago, CP for 0.5 star. The first episode was questionable, but tolerable. Not really. From there, it's gotten way worse. From 3 hours ago, from Yo Y, 1.5 stars, 30 out of 100. That's a very strange score. Maybe you mean 3 out of 10? Same thing. What is this? It's garbage. Thurstorm G for 0.5 star from 4 hours ago. At time of recording, trust me, if I could give it a 0, I would. The show is the most exhilaratingly annoying show to ever exist. She-Hulk does nothing right. They mock Banner's emotional arc. True. The humor isn't funny. Really true. And it doesn't help that the CGI looks like it's from Mario Kart 64. That seems to be insulting Mario Kart 64, to be honest with you. Hulk seems to be downgraded, and She-Hulk's law arc writing is laughable. It feels like a 5-year-old wrote every single scene involving law because it doesn't make any sense. It's like this movie doesn't care, and as Marvel pumps out more and more products, you can tell they don't care. They don't. Carl B for 1 star. Wow. Lost for words. It just sucks. You seem to have found some there. Caleb for 0.5 star. Congratulations, Marvel. This is your first product that is completely without redeeming qualities. I don't know about that. I'm actually impressed at how bad this is. I'm going to have to disagree with you, Caleb. I think it's just the latest product that is completely without redeeming qualities, and it has supplanted Hawkeye as the worst thing D+ has produced. Renee L, 0.5 star. Every time I think this show can't get any lower, they surprised me. I'm out. James S, 1.5 stars. I went down a She-Hulk rabbit hole 1 year after getting the first issue from my college comic shop, and I love the character and the backstory she had. The show has very little to none of the things I loved about the character. The show has some quirky charm to it. I don't know about that. Having cute moments, not really, when Jen has to balance out her normal life and hero life. What hero life? And now they often cross over with one another, but this show has none of the soul from the comic book, and that's a huge disappointment. Yeah, when you can't equal the soul and heart of a 2-dimensional static character in a comic book in a live-action TV show, you suck. I watched everything up to date so far, and I hope the show can change my mind, and if it does, I'll change my score. But right now, the show is a dud. And we'll end it with Race 4 with a half a star. Marvel has failed again with this show. They made an unlikable, annoying protagonist, and every episode is boring. The people have spoken loudly, but you know what the ultimate failure is? Trying to mock you and I in the show. Not once, but twice.
They took the Hulk's manhood away, but then they gave it to a woman?
Yeah, man, I don't get it. Why are you doing that? I have no problem with female heroes. I'm just saying, make your own. I don't know about y'all, but I'd smash.
Oh. This is... What? What is this? Mal.
I love... Is there anything more cringe than corporate memes? And the saddest part is, this was the one time I laughed at the show, unintentionally. Attacking and mocking your core audience.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for them.
Again, the insanity of attacking your core paying customer when all it would do to take to please us would be maybe instead of thinking about us and having YouTubers in your head, maybe try just to adapt the comic book. But if you needed proof that they've always hated nerds and they still hate nerds, there it is. And you know why they thoroughly dislike the comic book fan? Because they think we make them look bad because they don't take it seriously. They think it's silly and we don't. But the ultimate truth is they make themselves look bad. And particularly with She-Hulk, they have to live with one undeniable truth. The MCU is killing the MCU, and things have gotten so bad with the core Disney Marvel that they need the Fox X-Men to save them.
Hey, Hugh, you want to play Wolverine one more time?
Yeah, sure, Ryan.
Deadpool 3 was announced today with Ryan Reynolds joining Hugh Jackman, who's returning as Wolverine, and that is exciting news.
Yes! Oh! Come on! Oh!
Almost, but not quite as exciting as Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire going back to Spider-Man. And how did that help the rest of Marvel Stage 4? It made it look worse. Again, it's a brilliant move. Is it a sign of things changing, or is it the equivalent of the Rolling Stones announcing another tour and expecting that to save the music industry? Time will tell. And before you get too excited, we still need that Fantastic Four and X-Men casting. If you like what you heard, please like, share, and subscribe. If you didn't like what you heard, I thank you for listening this long. I will see you in the next video.
Nerdrotic.com. Please subscribe.